This is heartbreaking, as it looked like the New York Rangers were going to pick up a huge win and a much needed 2 points. They dropped the game in overtime, but not all hope is lost for the New York Rangers yet. We are going to break down this entire game, which was a very spirited game, and what this means for the New York Rangers playoff hopes moving forward. But before we do that, a quick reminder to hit that subscribe button. About 68% of you who watch these videos are not subscribed to the channel. So if you want to stay up to date with everything that's happening with the New York Rangers, from trade rumors to trade reports happening before this week's trade deadline, and of course practice updates, game reactions, all that fun stuff, it's free. Be sure to hit that subscribe button. Now, this was a very spirited game. This was a great game, honestly, and the Rangers ultimately lose it 3-2 in overtime, in a game where they got heavily outplayed in the third period, yes, but there are a lot of positives to take from this one, considering you lose in overtime to the East's best team in the Washington Capitals, who now have 88 points on the season, and it's a tough point to leave on the table. You would really like that point still, and of course, seeing Tom Wilson score that overtime winner is horrible, but the Rangers have not won 3 in a row. This has plagued them all season since mid-November. So definitely not the team we're used to, but still some positives to take from this game. And we're going to dive into those. We're going to stay optimistic because, you know, you lost to the best team in the East. Obviously, you wanted to win them. You don't want to leave the point, or you wanted to win this game. You don't want to leave the point on the table, but some positives to take from it. First of all, from Johnny Lazarus, the entire New York Rangers bench just stood up to bang their sticks on the boards after Matt Rempe got his body in front of a John Carlson shot. Matt Rempe was everywhere tonight. He played over 10 minutes, which is a lot more than he usually plays, and I feel like he was everywhere, and he was blocking shots, and you know, we'll get to more of his play in a second, but I thought he was a very effective player tonight, and the bench getting up all night. The bench was engaged. These are the things you need on a playoff push to be able to beat good teams, to continue to string wins together. The entire bench was engaged. They were getting up for when there was hits. And let's talk about how, you know, a couple of the, Washington Capitals were bailing out on the puck because Matt Rempe was coming for it. Like, this is the effect that this guy has. Not backing down from Tom Wilson. The Rangers have this guy now, and this is when he's most effective, not when he's throwing his elbow into guys' heads, right? Like we've seen in the past. So when he's doing things like this, he's playing effective and he's using his body the correct way. He is a very, very effective player for the New York Rangers. So love to see, it was a great game tonight for him, blocking a ton of shots. He played quite a bit. Laviolette seemed to be trusting him a little bit, which I think is good progression there in his development. And obviously, he's trying to do all the right things. So I love that. And of course, the bench getting up for everything like that. That was fantastic to see. And another thing that was fantastic to see was a game from Alexis Lafreniere that was pretty spirited. I mean, he's throwing reverse hits. I thought that this was fantastic. Obviously, coming in on the forecheck here, absolutely lays the boom. The whole bench is getting up for him. We're going to see it again here in a second. Takes a look. He goes, yep, you're going down. Bang. And this is a 1-0 game at this point. You're trying to set the tone that this is not going to be an easy game. You're not going to run us over, even though it's already 1-0. And at that point, it was 1-0, and they come back the other way, and he makes it happen again. This was a good game from Lafreniere. This is a good pass. Jones putting it to an area. Panarin tips it in. This was a perfect play. Lafreniere taking the zone, taking his space. It's a nifty pass. Zach Jones doing his thing, taking his space, putting the puck to an area. It's brilliant. It was a great play. Nice to see they tie the game there. They obviously took the lead on a nice goal from Sam Carrick as well. Sam Carrick has been fantastic this season. I feel like we kind of brush over him at times. I feel like he's been absolutely fantastic this season. Late in the third period, throwing that hit where, his man didn't realize that he was going to finish his check. Sam Carrick finishes his checks. He's in on the forecheck. I think that he's been really, really good so far this season for the New York Rangers. And again, I think a big part of them making any type of playoff push the rest of the year is going to rely on how much the guys are engaged, and they certainly were on the bench tonight. And as you take a look here, this is not updated. The Rangers are tied right now with the Ottawa Senators, who also won in overtime tonight. So obviously, the Senators kind of jumped them in that way, but the Rangers could pick up a couple wins still and jump over them, and also play the Columbus Blue Jackets twice this month. So things could get very, very interesting over the next couple of weeks in terms of the seeding in the Eastern Conference. Not just the wild card position. The Rangers, even the Jackets for that matter, I mean, the Devils just got news that Jack Hughes is done for the season. Somebody could definitely take that last divisional Metropolitan playoff spot. So it's gonna be crazy the next couple of weeks. We don't know what's gonna happen with the Devils. They could keep falling, and somebody could be moving up into that spot, and that could leave space for the Rangers to end up making the playoffs, and not even just the wild card spot. It could be a divisional spot at this point. But I'm not gonna get ahead of myself. Of course, they lost tonight. It was unfortunate, but again, like I mentioned, Sam Carrick putting in work all season long. Matt Rempe blocking shots. You'll love to see this. I mean, I feel like Lafreniere had a pretty good game. Zibanejad with a great back check at one point. I know it was on the penalty kill and they kind of were passing around too much late in the third there. But obviously making things happen. It was a great back check. Zach Jones, I would like for you to not take a penalty. I've been defending you on the channel for a while. I would love for you to not take a penalty late in the third like that. But, he's trying to save a goal. He's working hard. And he was given a lot of opportunities. And a lot of people are thinking that, Zach Jones is maybe being showcased at this point. And I think this is a great tweet that, it's a perfect example of what happens when you put a guy in a position to succeed and not to always scratch and claw, which you do need to at times. But let's try putting players as an organization in positions to succeed, especially young players. They're doing that with him right now, and he's excelling. They were using him in overtime tonight. Like, they're putting him in these positions that he can succeed in, and they're giving him more of an opportunity, more ice time. And again, to get back to what I was saying, a lot of people were saying, and I've seen the reaction online and in the comments, maybe they're showcasing him. I don't really buy into that narrative, especially with a coach like Peter Laviolette, right? Like, if he doesn't like a player, I don't think the coach is going to play him, especially when your team is in the midst of a playoff race. You're trying to make the playoffs. We know that the Rangers ownership, the organization, they want to make the playoffs. They're making that very clear. So if that was the goal and they didn't think Zach Jones was going to be able to do that for them, they wouldn't be playing him. Now, that being said, will he be traded? He could still be traded, right? I'm not saying he's not going to be traded, but I think it's refreshing to see that, they're trying to put a guy in a position to succeed finally, instead of like throwing him into the fire and going, you know what, he didn't succeed there. He's got to go down to Hartford. It doesn't work like that all the time. So I thought that was nice to see, but unfortunately, loss in overtime to the East Best Washington Capitals. Lafreniere with a nice pass. Zach Jones again with another point. It was a nice goal there, and Lafreniere with a big hit. Some of the guys looked activated. It was a solid effort from the team. You'd like more shots on goal. I thought it was a pretty solid effort from the team against a team that is very good. Their top line wasn't really going until they were late there in the third period, and Ovi scored. So, there's lots to take from this game. They have to continue to chug along. They have to continue to put wins together and to build off performances like this. I feel like JT Miller's the first to every puck. Like, he's setting the tone. So love to see that. There was great performances from a lot of players tonight, but I want to hear what you have to say in the comments about this game. Heartbreaking loss, but I feel like, again, there was a lot to take from it that they can build off of in terms of positives to move towards the future. What's going to happen with Riley Smith? I'm sure we're going to get an answer tomorrow as well. There's going to be a lot of updates on the way, so stay tuned for that. But again, I want to hear what you have to say about the game. And if you haven't yet, there's going to be, a lot of updates over the next couple of days. So if you have not yet, hit that subscribe button so you can stay up to date with everything New York Rangers.